Celtic are back in action tomorrow for our last away fixture this season. In today's video, we will discuss the build-up to that match, whilst going over the huge missed £155 million Celtic missed out on. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Stephen McGowan has shed light on the behind-the-scenes influence of Dermot Desmond at Celtic, suggesting the club's majority shareholder plays a far more active role in key footballing matters than many fans and observers might assume. Speaking on the Press Box podcast with Graham Spears, McGowan pointed to a recent example involving manager Brendan Rodgers that underlined Desmond's unusual involvement. A few weeks back, Brendan Rodgers faced the press before a match on a Friday. As he usually does, he was asked about Dazen Maeda, who has been on fine form this season, and his Celtic future, to which he said, "If there is that possibility to do that, I've spoken with Dermot and the club and spoken with the player. Hopefully in the future, that is something that can be done." McGowan recalled being taken aback by Rodgers' comments, saying, "Look at significance in terms of when you look at any significant issue that Brendan Rodgers tends to address, it's Dermot Desmond to name checks, isn't it?" I mean, I was really struck a few weeks ago when we walked in. The big debate was going on about Dazen Maeda. Will he sign? Will he go? Will he get big bids? And Brendan Rodgers said, "Well, you'll be talking to Dermot about a new contract." And that really rang a bell with me, thinking, why are you talking to the major shareholder, non-executive director, about a new contract for the main striker? Surely that's the job of the chief executive. Am I wrong about that? I mean, am I being naive? I mean, we talk a lot about Celtic not having the modern structure of a director of football, about not having a sporting director, and you wonder sometimes about an aspect of it. People have this image of the absentee landlord who is only kind of semi-attached to the club, who dips in and out when it suits him. I actually think he's a lot more involved than people realise, probably a bit more involved in some things than he probably should be sometimes, he concluded. Desmond has been Celtic's dominant figure at boardroom level for 3 decades, credited for providing financial stability and overseeing the club's period of domestic dominance. However, McGowan's remarks tap into a familiar frustration among sections of the support and media who believe the club could benefit from a more defined and modern football operations structure, separating ownership from day-to-day footballing decisions. There was a feeling that when Dom Mackay came into Celtic, things might change and the club would modernise, but he swiftly left and there has been no sign of modernisation since. Now for the main story. This year marks 30 years since Dermot Desmond first invested in Celtic, a milestone that has seen him evolve into the club's largest individual shareholder and most influential boardroom figure. Stephen McGowan gave an insight into the business philosophy that continues to shape the club under Desmond's guidance. McGowan was quick to acknowledge Celtic's stability and success off the park, but admitted that the club sometimes played it too safe when it came to transfer windows and dealings. He said, "We all accept that Celtic are a well-run club, but it's about degrees of risk here. We're talking about how conservative and risk-averse the people running the club are. Now, I remember there used to be a scout who is still around working for the club just now, who used to recommend players in South America, and he recommended a young guy by the name of Moises Caicedo, but of course to sign him it would have cost £3 or £4 million for an 18-year-old kid. Celtic just didn't act on that. People were thinking spending that on a young South American player, that's a risky business, but of course then he goes on and becomes the most valuable player in British football. I think it's just that feeling that the club are risk-averse and a bit safe sometimes with their transfer dealings," he said. Caicedo moved to Chelsea from Brighton for a deal worth up to £115 million, penning an 8-year contract with the option for another one. This surpasses the previous British transfer deal of £107 million paid by Chelsea for Enzo Fernandez. While Celtics have enjoyed immense domestic dominance and solid financial health under Desmond's stewardship, some fans and observers still wonder whether a little more ambition in the transfer market, particularly with emerging global talent, could take the club to the next level in Europe. In other news, Celtic goalkeeper Viljami Sinisalo has admitted he's simply enjoying every opportunity that comes his way, even though he knows the return of Kasper Schmeichel could see him step aside for the Scottish Cup final later this month. The Finnish stopper has impressed since being thrust into the starting role following Schmeichel's shoulder injury in March. He has handled some of the club's biggest fixtures with maturity and calm, including the title-clinching win at Tannadice, a Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden, and the recent Glasgow derby at Ibrox. With Schmeichel back in training and expected to be in contention for the Hampden showpiece against Aberdeen on May 24th, Brendan Rodgers confirmed Sinisalo will get another chance to impress on Wednesday night when Celtic face Aberdeen at Pittodrie. Rodgers has already hinted that several fringe and youth players will also be given opportunities in the penultimate league fixture. Sinisalo is fully aware of the situation but is keeping his focus simple. He had this to say: "I suppose nothing's a given in football. I'm not even focusing that far ahead. I'm just trying to enjoy the moment. Every chance you get to play is a privilege. I'm just happy I've now had the chance to play, and I'm trying to show to people that probably haven't seen me as much of what I am and what I'm about. That's all you can do. Then, if the manager makes the decision, the manager makes the decision. But I can only do what I can on the pitch and try to show in training what I'm about. If you asked me 3 months ago about the games I've now had since I've been in the team, we've played at Tannadice, in the league clinching game, and played at Hampden, played at Ibrox, I'd have been happy in terms of that. I'm just trying to prove I can be a Celtic goalie for the foreseeable," he concluded. Whether or not he keeps his place for Hampden, Sinisalo's recent displays have shown he has the potential to be a major part of Celtic's long-term goalkeeping plans. Brendan Rodgers has admitted that his performances have given clarity over his summer plans and that the young keeper is set for a Parkhead stay instead of heading out on loan. Lastly, former Celtic winger Sead Haksabanovic raised eyebrows in Sweden this week after turning up to Malmö FF training wearing one of his match-worn Celtic shirts despite the sour note on which his Parkhead career ended. Malmö's squad had been encouraged to wear random football shirts to training. Haksabanovic surprised many by pulling on his own Celtic top, a nod to his time in Glasgow. The Montenegrin international signed for Celtic in the summer of 2022 on a 5-year deal from Russian side Rubin Kazan and showed flashes of quality under Ange Postecoglou. But his time at Parkhead ultimately ended on a disappointing note after a fallout with Brendan Rodgers during the 2023 to 2024 season. Having been frustrated by a lack of game time, Haksabanovic took to social media in a cryptic post saying, "If they don't see your value, maybe you're at the wrong place." That outburst effectively sealed his exit, with Celtic sending him out on loan to Stoke City before he made a permanent move to Malmö last summer. Despite the manner of his departure, the 26-year-old clearly still holds some fondness for his time in Glasgow. His surprise choice of kit at Malmö training certainly got people talking, with many Celtic fans noting the irony given the player's previous frustrations at the club. Now, back in Sweden, Haksabanovic is looking to rediscover his best form and consistency, something that ultimately eluded him in his turbulent spell at Celtic Park. What are your thoughts on these? Let us know down in the comment section below. Make sure you have liked this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content.